All right. This could be a long one.
You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts,
Coach Mayor,
Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Well, howdy there, partners, and welcome to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Wasn't ready for that. I'm Seth.
Hey, I'm not going to do that anymore. So Cliff is not here. Cliff is at the happiest place on earth.
Wow. I thought this was that.
No. This is further down the list. I heard he's sleeping in his car or something.
Yeah, he's in the second floor bathroom at the Land. He sent us a pic.
He was so excited. I got a text at 7 a.m. He was so excited they upgraded him to sleep in his car.
I was confused. He said he was in the car's room, but it was incredible. I was like, which is it?
Which Pixar? All right, so without Cliff, we are going to try to do something he would not be into. And to help us out, we brought in Coach Mayor. We have a guest, Jared Lowe.
Heavily credentialed.
Nice to be here.
Thank you for filling in.
No problem.
Yeah, we're doing one of those weird ranking shows we've done. What have we done so far? We did threequels.
Movie threequels.
Yeah. Was there something else? Or was that it so far?
I feel like there was.
I'm sure of it. Oh, we did costumes. Was that a thing?
Right. We did superhero costumes and supervillain costumes.
Yeah. Okay. See, boom. Now we're doing something. I've got a little list of things I thought would fit with certain groups of people. I thought this would be a good trio for westerns. Western movies, more particular. I wanted to shy you guys off of Lonesome Dove. We're not doing any TV series. I knew it hurt.
That was rule number one.
Yeah.
Rule number one. Hey, let's do westerns that aren't Lonesome Dove. That was the immediate. Lonesome Dove cannot be on this list.
And then I took it a step further to call your lists and nixed neo-westerns. So none of this Hell or High Water, No Country for Old Men. All the things we gravitate towards that aren't, there's plenty of cowboys out there. Let's stick to the traditionals.
These are movies for Cliff's dad. The way he said those kind of movies that he liked. So Cliff's not here, but I think Cliff's dad could have filled in it at some point.
Yeah, so nothing set in modern day. But after that, who really cares? So again, it's a weird thing where I will explain there are 3 different sets of picks. We're going to do a top 17. That's kind of a weird number. Yeah, get over it. Is everybody over it? Okay. And then we're going to split that into 3 sections, and they'll each have slightly different perks to go along with it. And then we will determine who gets to pick which of those sets of picks.
So this is what we call
get to pick 5.666 repeating movies, right?
Yes.
Is that how it works?
Yeah. This is the competitive collaboration, I believe you were going to say, Jordan. It's where we have not discussed what our favorite westerns are. That's part of the beauty of this system, and we will surprise it. We may surprise ourselves, where we're at. You may think there's something you want to get on this list, but by the time it's your pick, you've just got too many other things you want on the list. So just a little twist on the top 10 where we would come in, where we had a definite rank list of 1 through 10, and we just gave you the list. This adds a little more drama to it, where we might all 3 overlap on some at the top. We might all 3 be completely different, and we'll have to kind of adjust your list as you go. Like you said, to make sure what you want's on the list,
but also to have a good list. Like you don't want to sabotage the list at all because you want the best stuff.
Yeah, we all want to be happy with this list when it's done, but we don't want everybody to be happy.
Ideally, we should be able to get 5 or 6 movies on the list, right? Is that how the way the math works out?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. 5 or 6, yes.
Okay.
So let's just make yourself 3 columns of picks here, and I'm going to read off column A, B, and C. These are what the choices are going to come from here. So column A will get 5 picks. Number 13, 10, 7, 4, and 1. That's a sweet column there. Column B gets 6 picks: 17, 16, 12, 9, 6, and 3. And column C also gets 6 picks: 15, 14, 11, 8, 5, and 2. Now, those each come with something. Each column will get 1 veto. So if you've heard us do this before, you will get to, if someone makes a pick you don't like, you don't want it on the list, or you don't think it's high enough on the list, you may veto it. It's not gone forever. They could use one of their higher picks to put it, or you or someone else could pick it at a higher pick. So each column gets 1 of those. C, that is column C, that is all they get, is 1 veto. Column A actually gets another veto. So the person with the number 1 pick gets 2 vetoes, and the intention has always been to protect the number 1 pick. No one has figured that out yet, but you're protecting your number 1 pick. But
we've always been pretty friendly with our picks and not really tried to sabotage it.
Yeah, but still, we've run into some messes, which is half the fun. So there's that, and then column B has the 1 veto, but they will also get a veto override. Now that the rules with that are, if someone vetoes a pick that is not yours, if someone vetoes your pick, you cannot use your veto override to stop them. But if someone picks someone else's, you may, veto someone else's pick, you may override that if you think that's where that should go. I think I did that on one of the lists. I think somebody tried to veto Shredder. Shredder's costume on Jordan.
I still owe you one for that.
Yeah. Remember, that's why I brought it up. And I overrode that. So those are the different columns that we will get to choose from. Now, the way we're going to choose, I hadn't thought about till just now. I think what we're going to do is, unless you guys have some better idea, I hate to just do rock, paper, scissors here.
First one closest to the bullseye.
We could do like a
draw paper, rock, scissors.
Cliff's coming in.
What's happening?
Hold on, Cliff. You may be a tiebreaker.
The Hawaii thing has the sign for pineapple.
Clifford Barnes, live from Florida, has just popped into the chat.
What's going on?
You peeing outside?
What?
Asked if this is the outdoor restroom.
Yes. Right?
Ooh,
right there it is. That's a new
nice.
one. That's a new one. That is a 2020 model.
Wow.
So yeah. I'm currently at Epcot World Showcase, waiting on. We got about 45 minutes to Harmonious new fireworks show.
Wow, sounds exciting.
Are you guys still waiting on Jared?
He's here.
I'm here.
Oh,
hey, what's up?
Oh, there he is. I couldn't see you.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, I just want to check in with you guys. I gotta go. We're gonna go find a table.
Have fun.
Enjoy.
See ya.
Bye.
Joy.
That was exciting.
I'm sure we'll have a full update on our next episode.
All right. Ready, kids? Can we even time this up? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, see. Yeah. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, you're out.
Oh, I'm out. Okay.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Try again. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Do it again. Rock, scissors. This is terrible. I'm coming with this. I got you.
Oh, you got me.
That will be compelling audio for the folks listening to the podcast.
Yes.
This whole first 2 hours is really great stuff.
This is going to be an epic saga. This is a trilogy. I'm taking column A.
I don't want column B. I don't want to do the first two.
Yeah, but these are those low picks let you get in those special movies. Everybody's too scared to veto. No, this is where you really get something on the list that you're the only one that likes.
But the override is a good option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that number 2 pick with column C. Sorry, Jared, you're new guy on the block. It gets to pick first.
Oh no. Okay, so I'm B.
Yeah, you are B. So you'll get the first 2 picks. Now, one other thing that comes into play here is whenever there is an opportunity to veto, like basically every time we'll quickly bring up, if someone picks, we go through the opposite order of that. So basically I got to pick first, but I have to choose first whether I'm using a veto or not before I know whether someone else would. Make sense?
For sure.
So it will go Seth, Jordan, Jared in that respect. Okay. So let's just kick it off here with pick 17.
I didn't want to go first.
Tough.
Okay. So this is the bottom of the list.
Drawn better.
Yeah, I feel like I've got some other picks that I definitely want higher in the list. So yeah, I'm kind of.
I mean, 17 seems way far down, but really you've only got 6. So yeah.
I know that's what I'm thinking.
There will be some overlap, but don't kick yourself later.
Yeah. I think I would rather mine be on the list and low than not be on the list at all. Hoping to get them higher. That would be my
okay. I think I'll go with at 17. Maybe on someone else's list. I don't know. Let's go with 1995, directed by Sam Raimi, The Quick and the Dead.
This is my town. I'm in charge of everything. I decide who lives or who dies. In a town called Redemption, a winner-take-all sudden death contest is about to take place. I now declare the quick draw competition open. But now, there's a new face in town. You're pretty. You're not. The kind of woman who knows that the fastest way to a man's heart is a Colt 45.
Sign me up.
Sure must want to die young, miss. Add my name to the list. Gentlemen, please remember, you must not draw until that clock makes the first chime of the hour. The Quick and the Dead. Are you prepared to go?
All the way.
It's the film that's knocking the critics dead. The year's wildest ride, Sharon Stone will blow you away.
Some people deserve to die.
Tons of action and lots of fun. You want to play poker with me, little lady?
Looks like you're having a pretty good time playing with yourself.
Starring Sharon Stone, Oscar winner June.
Modern.
Very stylized.
Yeah, so this one I actually had not ever seen until a few months ago when we started talking about Westerns. And I said, hey, this is one I want to see. And it's bonkers. I mean, it's really kind of crazy. So again, a great cast. Gene Hackman as the heavy is great, as the villain in this. Russell Crowe, probably one of his first American movies, I would assume, is great. A very young Leonardo DiCaprio as the kid, the prodigy gunslinger. And then some great, 90s character actors, Keith David, Lance Henriksen's great cast. But it's got Sharon Stone as like the heroes. All right. So I don't know how many of these we're going to have. There's the star hero gunslinger is a woman. There's not too many of those, I feel like, out there. So that's another point for this one. A rare, female-led Western. But yeah, the plot is basically, it's like a gunfighting tournament.
Who doesn't like a bracket?
It's a bracket. They make a big bracket on the wall in the bar, and then they have to fight each other every day, and it's crazy. But yeah, it's like, it was Sam Raimi at the top of his game, so it's crazy zooms and close-ups and
looking up
and camera shots through like bullet holes in people's chests. It's very stylized, but it's just crazy enough to be a heck of a lot of fun to watch. So it really took the old-timey gunfighter Western, and man, it was 90s music video era. That's what it was, man. It worked. I don't know. I enjoy it. What's your guys' opinion on that?
Yeah, I think I only saw it once, and it was before I knew who Sam Raimi was and what his deal was. So I'm sure I didn't appreciate his very stylish, his camera work. Well, he has some very signature moves with the camera and kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm sure I didn't appreciate it to its fullest, but I can definitely remember that it's not like your old school Western for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad it's gonna make the list. I rewatched it. Yeah, back I'd seen it a couple times years ago, but I rewatched it several months ago. I actually watched it through a bullet hole. I made sure to get the full experience. But yeah, it's I love a tourney. Let's do some matchups, get them out there in the street, and it's incredible cast. It's fantastic. It's fun. It's not a masterpiece, but it's definitely fun.
Yeah, it's goofy and it's weird, but it's a heck of a good time. If you just want some gunfighting action.
Here at Ka-Pow, we always have room for fun.
Yeah. I think you got us off to a good start. Come right back strong with the 16th pick here.
Nobody's going to waste a veto on the 17th pick, obviously. So let's go 16. Let's go back how about we go back in time to a kind of more straight line, classic Western. 1962, John Ford, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Lee Marvin's terrorizing a small western town. Liberty Valance, the toughest man south of the picket wire. Next to me. But John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart are determined to bring him to justice. What kind of man are you? This kind. You better start packing a handgun. I don't want to kill him. I want to put him in jail. Out here, a man settles his own problems. Pilgrim! I hate tricks, Pilgrim. But that's what you're up against with Valance. He's almost as fast as I am. I don't like tricks myself, so that makes us even. Either you get out of town, or tonight you be out in that street alone. John Ford's Western classic, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
So it's based on a 1953 short story, which for some reason I feel like we read it in school, like it was like in a textbook or something that we read in school. So I remember I liked it.
I'm sure we had the same textbooks when you went through school as I did. So yes. I have a memory of that too.
Okay. So I remember it was it's a neat story. And so I think maybe we watched the movie after we read it in class or whatever. I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. Like, I had not probably in the 90s been exposed to old, 40s, 50s, 60s Westerns. So that was kind of probably a early exposure to that. But I've watched it since, and I watched it a few months ago, as I was kind of thinking about Westerns when we started talking about them, and it held up. I liked it. So this is John Wayne playing the same character John Wayne always plays. He's the stalwart gunfighter, and it's Jimmy Stewart is kind of the other lead, and Lee Marvin is Liberty Valance.
Yeah.
Bad guy, yeah. So it's about the man who shot Liberty Valance. But I like it for a couple different reasons. So it's, you got Jimmy Stewart as kind of the hero. He's like an intellectual. He comes out west to this town and he's like a lawyer, and he wants to like help them, like he's helping a girl learn to read and stuff. So he's not he's not a gunfighter. He kind of gets thrust into this situation where you have him playing opposite John Wayne, who's the rough and tumble, gunfighter kind of character. So it's an interesting kind of play off their different characters. And, the idea of the movie is you end up kind of seeing the titular event when Liberty Valance gets shot. You kind of see it from different perspectives, right? So you have what Jimmy Stewart thinks happened, and you have what John Wayne thinks happened, and it kind of shows. So for me, for 1962, it was kind of an innovative way to kind of show the different perspectives of the gunfight, which you didn't see in those movies back then. But yeah, man, it's a solid, straightforward, John Wayne Western, and I've always enjoyed it, and I watched it recently, and I liked it then.
Well, I'm really glad this is on the list. It's not one I necessarily wanted to use a pick for, so I'm super glad you did. But I really like this movie, and I love Jimmy Stewart. So, and them playing off each other, they're like him and John Wayne. I almost think like they don't exist in the same world to me. Like they're supposed to be in different movies. So having them in the same movie is really special. And because Jimmy Stewart's always he's Mr. Smith, in a Western, it's that combination. So I really enjoyed this. I had not seen it since I was a kid when, on Saturday afternoon, eating peanuts and, stuck at home watching these Westerns. And so I forgot how it went down, what exactly happened. So which is so, that seems so modern of a twist,
I agree. Yeah.
It's such an old movie. So
yep.
I really love that. And I thought everybody was great in it. Lee Marvin is just like the perennial bad guy. He's great in this. And it's a classic. I thrilled it's on the list. I love it. So not vetoing that.
Probably not the last John Ford movie we'll see on the list.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah. What do you think, Jordan?
All about that. It's been ages since I've seen it, but yeah, it always has I always have the memory of it for sure.
Oh well, sounds like he's in. So that's the West. The legend, becomes the story. Print the legend, right? Let's do it. So it's you, Jordan.
All right. So I think I'm going to use the same kind of strategy and sneak a more modern, maybe not consensus pick through here at the bottom of my list.
There's a chance to try slip one in here on us.
Yeah, this would not. I didn't realize we were doing this many, so this one was not at the top of my list. Even though I think I named it my number one movie of the year a couple years ago, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
People are so easily distracted. So I'm the distractor with a little story. People can't get enough of them. Because, well, they connect the stories to themselves, I suppose. And we all love hearing about ourselves. So long as the people in the stories are us. But not us.
This'll tell the tale.
I'm Buster.
Buster Scruggs.
Your shooting iron work.
Appears to do, yes.
Do you have anything to say before sentence is carried out?
Sentence? What's my sentence?
Things have a way of escalating out here in the West. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings.
That man is a wonder.
I will just have to see him.
Crazy business.
This was the Coen brothers, who are my favorite directors. Did a strange little anthology movie for Netflix. And the rumor was it was kind of maybe meant to be a series, and then they just kind of pieced it together in the film, but they kind of denied that. But yeah, it's just 6 short little episodes, and each one is completely different from the last. It starts with a musical singing cowboy. There's a kind of a bleak, wagon train story. There's a silly bank robbery story. There's like almost a horror story at the end. So there's some crazy amount of whiplash back and forth for what's going on. But it's basically just the Coens doing their take on any and every genre of Western. The cast was terrific, and I'm sure we've talked about this many times when it first came out. But yeah, I was going to try to stick that one here at the bottom. I said maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but I've watched it a couple of times since it's come out, and I still think about it quite a lot.
Well, I'm surprised that this is this low for you. Like, I rewatched it a couple weeks ago. So I enjoyed it even more this time because, the first time I wasn't sure what to expect.
Yeah, the first time you don't know what you're in for.
Yeah.
So if you can just sit back and let it happen, maybe.
I still love, my favorite one is the wagon train one with whatever her name is. I can't think of it. But I love that one. That's so good. I've actually suggested that to a couple different people. I was like, just watch this one. And if you like that, move on. The rest of it's good. I love the, stagecoach type finale, and then it's almost all good. I can't think of a bad. I honestly can't think of many of them. One in there, of course, there's the Tim Blake Nelson beginning, which is great. Serial killer, happy guy.
Tom Waits is a miner.
Oh yeah,
digging out looking for Mr. Pocket. And there's
Liam Neeson one's a little weird.
Yeah, the sideshow.
Guy
who recites poetry. Yeah,
the chicken. Yeah, and the one with James Franco, first time,
which it became a meme.
Heavily memed. I love this. Yeah,
I had it on my list. I wasn't sure if it was in my top 5 or 6, but I had a feeling it would be in Jordan, so I wasn't too worried about trying to get it on there. But I agree. I had a note here that my favorites that were the Buster Scruggs story with Tim Blake Nelson, and it's called The Girl Who Got Rattled.
Oh yeah, I love that. I like that guy.
But I was thinking because a lot of these old movies I would be kind of looking up, just on Wikipedia to try to learn, and it's like so many of them were like, oh, this was based on a short story. It's like, I don't know, for some reason it feels like the Western genre, like you could just come up with a great short story in a Western setting. And that's, to me, what this is. It's a collection of little short stories in a Western form. And it just works. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think my only regret is I think it could have been a little higher, but I'm not going to use a veto on that. I think I'm glad it made the list. So you got to come right back with number 14 here.
Goodreads is showing The Girl Who Got Rattled as a short story written by Joel and Ethan Coen.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's maybe part of that. They did a.
Oh, I love the way too that they had. I love the way they set up each of them. Like on that one, they show the guy, the badass, quiet gun guy, walking up over the hill, and you see his partner coming up. And he's like, he wasn't sure what he was going to tell Mr. So-and-so, and I was like, that setup is so great. And then bringing it back at the end to explain what you've seen. Those are all good.
And the actress you're thinking of is Zoe Kazan.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So I get another pick, number 14. I'll do the same thing. I'll go with more of a traditional one. Just looking at this list, there's a lot of really great movies. There's a bunch that were in top 10 lists and all kinds of stuff. But I'm going to go one I've probably seen maybe the most. Just, a rainy Saturday afternoon or whatever, be on TV. And Howard Hawks movie from 1959, Rio Bravo.
Yes, there'll never be another like Rio Bravo, with its thundering story of raw courage against overwhelming odds, and its once-in-a-lifetime combination of today's hottest star names. You've seen nothing like them together, and here at Rio Bravo, nothing can tear them apart.
Not even a thank you do I get.
Maybe you're right, Stumpy.
Huh?
You're a treasure.
Well,
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Tired, aren't you, John T? I can fix you a nice hot bath.
All I want is a drink.
Then, this is all I can do for you?
I told him you were one of the best.
I'll tell you what I'm a lot better at, Mr. Wheeler. That's minding my own business. No offense, Sheriff.
Where are you going?
Get your hands off.
I said, where are you going?
You got no use for a man you can't depend on. One bad night and I'm done for.
Better go easy on that stuff. That makes 3 you have.
Yep. You'd be lying, because that's what I am, a soft-headed idiot. There isn't any other explanation for staying around here and inviting myself into this.
Another John Wayne picture. This one has been remade multiple times, including by Howard Hawks. He made the same movie over again. Was El Dorado? Was that? Yeah, he basically used the same plot. But the original is the best. This is John Wayne, Dean Martin, Ricky Nelson, and Angie Dickinson. So there's a Texas sheriff, and the brother of a powerful local rancher does something he shouldn't have, and he has to go to jail. So, and the rancher's like, I'm rich and powerful, let my brother out of jail. He's like, no, we got to follow the law. He's like, all right, well, then that's your funeral, pal. So they're going to be bad, if they don't cooperate with with money, you get your way, as it was in the Old West, as it is today. Justice can be bought, but not in John Wayne's small Texas town. So they're waiting on the U.S. Marshal to come and take this guy away. And this guy's brother is going to send bandits and whoever to break him out before that can happen. So it's that assault on Precinct 13 kind of idea of they have to barricade themselves in, and danger could come at any moment from any angle. John Wayne's the same stalwart kind of hero. Dean Martin is the town drunk who used to be somebody, but he's completely thrown his life down the bottle at the moment. So he has to kind of sober up and become a man again. Ricky Nelson was the teen heartthrob. I'm sure got the ladies in the seats to buy their tickets. So he's kind of the young kid of it, and it's just fun Western. That classic, gunfights over the balconies and guys jumping off horses and dynamite and all kind of fun stuff. So I enjoy that one quite a lot. It's a very simple story that's been told and retold many ways and many genres since, but there's something special about Rio Bravo.
I love it. Definitely was also on my list. I agree. It's so good they just kept remaking the same movie. They did it again a couple different times. But this was kind of the original. Just some credit for El Dorado, which was the one they made in 1966. and that was Robert Mitchum played kind of the drunk character.
Yeah, he's
as
good
D.
at
Martin,
that too. Yeah.
and a very young James Caan played the young cocky gunfighter, and so that it was good. I rewatched that one recently too. It's good, but yeah, I would still also go with the original.
That's another fun thing about watching these movies is how many actors got their starts in westerns, and you'll see weird faces like, whoa, who is that guy?
Well, and there's all so there, and again, it's such. I feel like you've seen those types of characters in westerns for so long after that too, right? Of course, the John Wayne character, but all the drunk who's trying to redeem himself, the young cocky gunfighter, and then the crazy old man. There's always an old coot, with a rifle, like, oh, John Wayne. Now in the original Jordan, it's Walter Brennan,
right?
Which one of those times we were watching it came the classic Jerry Lowe quote: "Is that Walter Brennan?" Well, he runs like Walter Brennan, which was just a random. I don't know why I still remember that quote.
But we all know how Walter Brennan runs. Like,
right.
It's
so distinctive.
Very distinctive. Yeah. In El Dorado, the crazy old coot is played by the guy from your favorite episode of Twilight Zone, the old guy and the dog. If I don't remember the name of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he's the old guy in El Dorado.
Okay.
But yeah, this one was definitely on my list. I wanted it on the top 17. Rio Bravo. I love it.
I'm the crazy old coot here that doesn't like Rio Bravo. Like, it's universally lauded. Like, everybody loves Rio Bravo. I watched it a couple years ago again, and I'm just like, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, it's just like hangout movie. I get the appeal of these guys. It's always known as the answer to High Noon. Like, they hate that, he went around begging the town for help, and they don't need any help in this movie. John Wayne doesn't need any help, except he gets knocked out like 57 times and needs every bit of help that he keeps saying he doesn't need. And I get it. I love my rifle, my pony, and me, and all that. But it's just like I don't love the movie. But
they definitely stop the action. So both Ricky Martin Ricky Nelson and Ricky Martin sing songs. They have to sing songs in the middle of all the action too, right? Because that's what they do.
Living La Vida Bravo.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not in the top 10, so I'm perfectly content leaving it on here. I know that I am the outlier on Rio Bravo. So
that, like I said, like, there's things below it on my list that won Oscars and are all-time classics, but I'd never rewatch them. So I will rewatch Rio Bravo. So
perfectly
it's my popcorn fun Saturday afternoon flick.
Yeah, I totally see that. It's not unenjoyable. I just felt like it, not one of my faves. You guys did the hard part, and I am still struggling here to figure out what to put in the 13th slot. I only get 5 picks, and I have 5 that I definitely want on here, but I feel like a couple of them you guys are going to do surely. So I'm going to try, out of the other 40 movies on this list, try to pick one to slip in here. There's probably like 3 or 4 I'm narrowed down to. I don't know. Just because I'm going to go with 2003 Kevin Costner, Robert Duvall, Open Range.
Beautiful country. Man can get lost out here. Forget there's people and things that ain't so simple as this.
I always hoped somebody gentle and caring might come along.
I'm not who you think I am, Sue. Folks around these parts don't take to free grazers.
Always been country plenty for man and beast.
Times change, Mr. Spearman. You reckon them cows worth getting killed over?
The cows is one thing, but one man telling another man where you can go in this country's something else.
I got no problem with killing, boss. Never have. Whole town knows there's a fight coming. They just hope it don't spill over to them.
The man's got a right to protect his property and his life. And we ain't letting no rancher or his lawman take either.
Men are gonna get killed here today, Sue. And I'm gonna kill them.
You should have run when you had the chance, Spearman.
You're the one who killed our friend?
That's right.
Get out of this house!
Directed by Kevin Costner. Former gunslinger is forced to take up arms again when he and his cattle crew are threatened by a corrupt lawman. It's got Annette Bening plays the doctor's sister or something, and it's just they're just trying to move some cattle, and they get caught up in the bad guys are causing a ruckus, and it's got a great gunfight at the end. It's known for this, build up to the face off at the end, and which is really well done, and kind of, I don't know, it's just one of the better movie gunfights. But I don't love the movie. I'm not over the top about it. It doesn't have to be here, but as of what I have at this level, that's probably my favorite.
Where does this fall on the young Kevin Costner, old Kevin Costner divide? Is he still young at this point?
This is right in the middle there. Wow. This is touch and go. I guess I'd put him old Kevin Costner in this. Come on.
I have not seen this one, so I can't.
Really? Robert Duvall? You guys didn't?
There's only one movie about Robert Duvall driving cattle that I watched. That's called Lonesome Dove. So I also have not seen this.
Not a movie. I've never heard of that movie.
Seth's going to make Cliff bleep that.
So I don't know what else. You should watch it. I think you should watch it. I think you'd like. It is definitely a, nice, relaxing cowboy to watch. You're gonna love these guys. You're gonna, Robert Duvall is full Robert Duvall. It's very enjoyable.
And since I get from it is it's not one of those moderns that we need to deconstruct the Western. It's
no, it is exactly what you think it is. Yeah. Kevin Costner's fallen for the Annette Bening, and there's the bad guys just wouldn't leave them alone. If they just left us alone, we wouldn't have to do this. So it's good. It's good. All right, I made it through a pick. So that takes us to number 12, Jared.
I feel like I've got a few that need to go higher on the list, or I'm confident someone will help me get them higher on the list. So 12, yeah, that's a weird spot here. Let me think what I want to put in here.
Yeah, just be careful, because you throw something in here that should be higher, then you're just screwing yourself. If it's something you feel like we're going to put,
How about...
It really, I'm extremely stressed.
We've barely cracked into this, and it's already
I know. We're not even in the top 10, and I'm just super stressed about where things are going to go.
All right, I'm going to throw. Got two. I'm not sure which. Okay, I'll try.
Because you guys have named some really good stuff here. I mean, there's some good stuff in this bottom half of the list.
I'm going to throw a pretty recent one that I watched and really loved. 2017, directed by Scott Cooper, called Hostiles.
I don't know how you've done all these years. Seeing all the things you've seen, doing all the things you've done, makes you feel inhuman after a while.
Captain, you do know Chief Yellowhawk. The Army wants to be certain that the chief gets home to Montana safely without incident.
I have any idea What he's got? He's a butcher. Then the two of you ought to get along just fine.
I've killed savages because that's my job. You have no idea what war does to a man. I hate him. I got a war bag of reasons to hate him.
This will be done, and it will be done by you.
When the parade's over, put him in chains.
You believe in the Lord, Joseph?
Yes, I do. But he's been blind to what's going on out here for a long time.
If I did not have faith, what would I have?
No, I've killed everything that's walked or crawled. If you do it enough, you get used to it.
That's what I'm afraid of.
You just gotta take your dues.
We both know it could just as easily be you sitting here in these chains.
Sometimes I envy the finality of death, the certainty. And I have to drive those thoughts away when I'm weak.
This is starring Christian Bale and one of my favorite character actors of all time, Wes Studi, who you may know from Last of the Mohicans and a bunch of movies. He's a Native American actor, and it's so Christian Bale kind of plays a frontier U.S. soldier who's getting ready to retire. He's ready to turn in his badge one day from retirement or whatever, but he gets tasked with having to escort Wes Studi, who's kind of a dying, Indian chief, and his family, up to Montana, back to their ancestral homeland or whatever. And Christian Bale hates Native Americans. Yeah, he's extremely racist. He's watched all of his buddies get killed over the years, so he hates this idea. So it's a great, kind of hook to see, he has this duty, but he hates this guy and over. And then, of course, through the movie, they get into all kind of scrapes and shenanigans. They come to a greater understanding of each other, that kind of stuff. But the cast, I didn't even remember half these people were in it, but Jesse Plemons, Timothy Chalamet, Ben Foster, who's one of my favorite just rando actors, Jonathan Majors, who's kind of breaking out pretty big, nowadays, Stephen Lang. But to me, it's Wes Studi, kind of a lot of focus on him, and I love him as an actor, and I love that so many of these old westerns, obviously the portrayal of Native Americans was very problematic, and all kind of issues with that. So I love that he gets a very kind of studied a picture where he can kind of play a very he has some depth to that character and stuff. So I thought it was great.
There's definitely been an evolution from the 1950s and 60s portrayal where they were just the bad guys who rode in and massacred people, to some of the 80s and 90s where like Dances with Wolves, they showed their nobility, but still they weren't really characters. It's really been pretty recent that movies have really tried to portray the natives as actual three-dimensional characters. So that's a definitely great example. I remember you recommended that movie to me. It wasn't on my radar, but it's very long and slow. It's not an action-packed, gunslinging kind of movie, but it was an excellent movie.
I have not caught up with this because I remember a lot. I mean, it got decent reviews, but I remember people would it's like misery porn. It's just it's a miserable movie. They very early on shoot a baby. It's just let's kill kids and babies and just go there. And so I was like, I don't know about that.
There's a lot of most of the characters end up dead by the end, I would say, but I think it ends on a hopeful, and there's some hope mixed in there. So
Well, I'm unlikely to veto a movie I haven't seen, so let that go. And Jordan seemed to like it, so I think at number 12 we have Hostiles. I'll have to catch up with that. So Jordan, you have number 11.
Four of our first 6 were from the 90s or more modern. When you think of westerns, you think of classic old school movies. So I don't know if that means the better ones are at the top of the list, or if we are more skewed toward the modern take.
I think it's a little of both. I think our just modern sensibilities. A lot of this, having watched a lot of these older ones in the last year, it's like we put up with a lot. Now we expect a little more, a little more depth to what we're watching. So.
All right, so for my number 11, this was the one I really, really like this movie. I don't know what anyone else would think of it. It's one of those movies I don't know that I could recommend to people.
Ooh.
But I was going to try to squeeze it in at the very bottom of the list. But now that I know we have a few more to play with, I'm going to just outside the top 10. I'll see if I can get it in, or if anyone even knows this movie. From 1995, Dead Man.
Last night, my youngest son, Charlie, was gunned down in cold blood. The gutless murderer, one Mr. Bill Blake, also stole a very spirited and valuable horse. I want him brought here to me. Alive or dead don't matter, though I reckon dead would be easier.
Johnny Depp, Gabriel Byrne, Robert Mitchum in Dead Man.
The hunt is on.
Came west to find a new future.
How do you do, sir? I'm Bill Blake, your new accountant.
What he found instead
Charlie.
was trouble.
Don't!
Now there's a reward on his head.
You were a poet and a painter, and now you are a killer.
And a band of bounty hunters on his trail.
I don't give a shoot who saw what and who did what or who did who. Good God, I'm hit.
That weapon will replace your tongue, and your poetry will now be written with blood.
Sir, would it be presumptuous of me to ask you if we were autographed?
It's not a bad illustration of you, William Blake.
Johnny Depp gives a riveting performance, says the LA Times.
You William Blake?
Yes, I am. Do you know my poetry?
Dead Man.
Oh, yeah. That's
Johnny
Depp.
Depp. Yeah, so I watched this in college and remember it being really striking. And this is, I think, I only rewatched, when we talked about this, I rewatched a couple of movies. I didn't do as many as you guys, but this was one I did. It was on HBO Max.
Yeah, it's on HBO right now.
Okay. Yeah. So I just rewatched it recently, and I don't know if it was as great as I remember it being in college, where it kind of blew my mind, but I still thought it was a really strong movie. Written and directed by Jim Jarmusch, who is kind of the indie auteur, film festival guy. Did Stranger Than Paradise, Down by Law. His most recent one was The Dead Don't Die, that zombie movie with Bill Murray. My favorite, of course, Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai. So the cast, it's all shot in black and white. And Johnny Depp is the main star, but it's got just short little vignettes with Crispin Glover, Billy Bob Thornton, Iggy Pop, Gabriel Byrne, John Hurt, and Robert Mitchum. It's one of his last film roles. So it's, you want to call it postmodern or like revisionist or something, like looking back at the Westerns. Jarmusch called it a psychedelic Western. It throws in a few surreal elements. But the plot's pretty simple. It's Johnny Depp is an accountant from Cleveland who is not cut out for the Wild West. So he goes west for a job that he was promised, and it doesn't work out. So
but that ride out west is awesome. Like, he gets on this train and it goes and goes. It's one of those, you're at the end of the line, but I mean, he's like falls asleep and wakes up and there's totally different people on the train, and they all look way rougher than the first time he was there. It's interesting.
So Johnny Depp's character is named William Blake, and a lot of it, there's allusion, the poet William Blake, there's a lot of quotes that I wasn't smart enough to get, that kind of like Some are born to sweet delight, some are born to endless night, that whole thing. So there's quotes from the poetry, and there's all kind of strange allusions to these poems throughout the whole thing. But I said it went over my head. But so anyway, he ends up murdering a guy accidentally and has to go on the run. And he's a wanted outlaw, which he is not. He's a foppish accountant, and he ends up getting shot in the chest. And when he wakes up, there's this Native American guy there, played by Gary Farmer, who is having a great recent comeback. Another just a character actor who's been in a ton of stuff. He was in that Resident Alien show I talked about as the grandpa. He was in First Cow, and he was just in my favorite show of the year, Reservation Dogs. He's Uncle Brownie, the guy who was selling the weed from his jar of weed from the 90s and trying to sell it. So anyway, this guy, he can't remove the bullet. It's too close to his heart. And he's like, there's nothing I can do for you. You're going to die, basically. So then it becomes this Native American guy kind of guiding him and giving him like a vision quest and trying to prepare him for death. And it gets stranger the further it goes on, and then adds a few surreal moments, a few comedic moments. But it's just strange, but the interaction between those two is great. Gary Farmer is a terrific role, and again, another there's no stereotypes. He's a Native American like I'd never seen before in a movie, where he's not the wise medicine man or the friendly sidekick or the comedic. He's a completely three-dimensional character, and there's nuance between the tribe he is from, and he kind of butts heads with people from other tribes because strangely they have different traditions and beliefs. So it's an odd, strange movie, but I really love it. And I love the soundtrack. It's done by Neil Young, who basically just sat and watched the footage with a guitar and improvised.
I remember that being a thing, like that soundtrack with
all these licks where it just would be like, no. It would just come out of nowhere, and he would just be noodling on the guitar, and then add like dun 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 dun. He would add like weird dramatic. So the music is again like nothing I'd heard in a movie. So
the girl, there was a girl in that. I remember being really pretty, and I don't remember seeing her in anything else. So I couldn't tell you her name, but like the girl early in the movie, I don't even know if she's in the whole movie. But anyway, besides the fact, I've seen it a while back, and it I liked it fine. Again, like I didn't see it back. I remember hearing about it back in the day, and I saw it a year or so ago. I liked it fine. I'm not gonna veto it or anything. I
don't cotton to no poetry in my westerns.
Yeah.
I have not seen this, but yeah, I want to seem like I'm a cool intellectual who watches cool movies like that, so I'm not gonna veto it either.
Yeah. All right, so Dead Man at number 11. Well, it's top 10 time, guys. Everybody's played nice so far. What we're going to do here is everybody's going to try to push this so far. Now we're in this groove of like, what special thing can I get in here? And then you're never going to get your favorites in here. So it's going to be just a dogfight here at the end. But I'm going to try to push one more.
I've done the math where I think I got mine. I think I got, these three, and I know someone else will pick this one. So quick little back of the checkbook.
So do I know someone else will pick this. I know someone else picked that. So just keep that in mind. We're all thinking that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So to prove that point, I'm going to go ahead and try to slip one more in here that I like. And it is directed by, I don't know how to say his name, Jacques Audier. Let's say his name is from 2018, another newer one called The Sisters Brothers.
We're the Sisters Brothers. We're good at what we do.
Hey! This is the Sisters Brothers! You don't stand a chance!
Charlie? Huh? We've had a good long run. We need to get out. We could open the store together.
Store? This is nonsense.
You walk in the front door and finish the job. All right. You're not gonna like what comes next. Hoping you're safe.
No, never.
We're the Sisters Brothers. Sisters. Like sisters. We're looking for a man named Warm. He stole something from our employer. We have enough money to stop for good. Stop what? Killing people. Yeah.
It's. Have either of you seen this?
I think I watched like 5 minutes at your house waiting on.
Oh yeah,
to
you
start
did.
the podcast. But
You
I never
did.
did.
I do remember you coming. There was like a big fire at the beginning of it. But yeah, it's John C. Reilly, Joaquin Phoenix, Riz Ahmed, Jake Gyllenhaal. Just a great cast. Rutger Hauer as the Commodore. But they are hired by the Commodore. They're assassins. Joaquin Phoenix and John C. Reilly. Their last name's sisters and they're brothers. That's just hilarious right there. But anyway, they're hired to go capture this chemist who is an aspiring gold prospector. And meanwhile, someone else is after the guy. And it's the biggest thing. First off, it's a beautiful movie. Like, it's gorgeous. And it's definitely just, it's not what you expect. I think the reason it wasn't a hit was because anything with John C. Reilly, first off, and then when you put Joaquin Phoenix with him, you're expecting funny. And I'm going to say there isn't funny, but it's not a comedy. They play it fairly straight, and it's like a sad movie, and just like them dealing with stuff. And there's just dark comedy to it because of what's going on, but I just wanted it to last longer. I just liked watching this movie. So I've seen it 3 or 4 times. I think it's a very enjoyable, beautiful, modern Western, which I tend to gravitate towards. And I like both of those guys. All 4 of the main guys I thought did a great job. I definitely recommend the Sisters Brothers. It's been on Hulu for a couple of years now. I assume it still is. So definitely check it out, or veto it. You could also do that.
It crossed my mind because I feel like we're skewing too modern on this. I feel like we're gonna leave off a lot of classics. But
yeah, I have not seen it. I saw it pop up on some lists of some of the best recent Westerns and things like that. So I only have one veto, so I don't feel comfortable.
Oh, it's tough. So you doing it or not, Jordan?
Nah, I'm okay with it.
All right, Sisters Brothers at number 10. So that takes us to Jared with pick number 9. He's only got 3 picks left. This is one of his 3 in the top 10. I had 4. So now we're each down to 3 picks here. So
I'm gonna go with. I got a couple. Okay, I'm gonna go with one that I think may be in danger of getting vetoed.
Oh.
Because it might not be Westerny enough.
Oh, we will. Let's just put this out there. If there is something on the line here, the other 2 will make the decision. I know that always skews against my favor, but okay.
Return to Lonesome Dove. You never said anything about the sequel.
Right, we'll see here. We'll see. I knew something.
I read the fine print. Yeah, I was allowed to get that.
Someone will throw a complication in here. So let's hear it.
So this is from 2015. It takes place in the West on the frontier, based on a true story from 1823. The Revenant. The Revenant, directed by Alejandro Inarritu. So this is Leo. Leo won the Oscar for this one for rolling around on the ground and grunting a lot. I really like this. I really like this movie. to me, it's got some Western flavor to it. Certainly from the same.
Well,
time
I'll just come out and say right now, I would totally say it's a Western. So that would be my vote. I wouldn't.
Do they wear hats? They do wear hats. So
they ride horses.
They ride horses.
Yeah.
Ride horses.
There are Native Americans. There's
it checks all the boxes.
So I wouldn't worry about that part.
So it's it's definitely kind of a survival tale, right? Of Leo and the frontier.
I mean, he's eating raw fish,
and it's the director does these track action sequences with they look like single shots,
like right up in your face.
Actions. The camera moves. So really, it's interesting to watch. It's fun to watch.
That whole I remember that whole fight scene where they're shooting the arrows and everything, and it's just like amazing.
That's like right at the beginning. It's they're so it's like it's true life expedition that kind of went out west to get furs and stuff. So I had Jedediah Smith and all these very famous mountain men of the early frontier, early west.
Man, that is your jam. You love stories about old expeditions that go wrong.
Old cold things.
That is my jam.
Anything icy, cold.
I agree.
That's Donald Gleason. Is that Brendan Gleason's son?
Gleason. So
Tom Hardy doing one of 8,000 different voices.
Yeah. I'll say Leo won the Oscar, even though he probably didn't deserve it for this movie. Tom Hardy deserved the Oscar for this movie and didn't win it. He is amazing as kind of the villain. So it's like, the idea is, Leo gets hurt and, Tom Hardy takes the money from the expedition leader to stay behind with him until he dies, basically. But, he's a shrewd guy. He realizes I'm worth it. I just, I can kill the guy and leave and get out of there. So, he hatches a plot to get out of there. And, of course, it's about Leo getting his revenge in the end. So, Tom Hardy's a great heavy in this one. Will Poulter is the other kind of main guy on the adventure.
He's a new flavor.
Yeah, I love Tom Hardy. He's one of my favorite guys going currently. But I love the movie. Like I said, as long as we agree it's a Western, I think it deserves to be on here.
I would say it's a Western. I honestly didn't even include this on my list because I know your brother does not like it. And I do. I like the Revenant.
That's why I wondered I couldn't remember what your opinion is.
I do like
how
it.
much you like it.
I think I gave it. I just checked my rating there. I gave it 4 out of 5. I really did. The aesthetic was. I was right there with you. I love the cold, and I liked the frontiersman aspect to it instead of so much just traditional cowboy. It was like I like that stuff. I love the cast, and I like that director, and it's just like it's my jam. There's some things that are a little dead in it. Like I could see the criticisms people have with it, but I really dug the movie. I do not have a problem with it being on here. I'm glad you put it on here. We'll see if it gets by. Yukon Cornelius over there.
Silver. This movie just did nothing for me. I think I saw it after all the hype, after he'd already won the award, and after I knew he fights a bear and all that. Like I knew all the stuff about it. So I was like, "Oh, this!" And I think it may have been even hyped too much when I first went in to watch it. So I didn't. His performance didn't wow me. The visuals certainly did. Like nothing to complain about. Well, you said the action scenes. Doesn't he fall down like a waterfall or something? There's some crazy one long take and all. Yeah, so.
Like he's riding a horse like off a cliff,
right.
On a big like tracking shot across a field. Yeah, I agree. I think if you go into it thinking like, oh, this is what Leo won an Oscar for, it suffers because you're like, what this, and it kind of like it almost diminishes the movie. But like,
it's all the other pieces surrounding him. There's just everything else is so strong. It elevates.
Yeah, I love a good revenge tale. All the pieces should have worked, but something about it. And again, maybe I just need to rewatch it. Maybe it was an off day for me. So since the two of you kind of really like it, I don't think I'll use my veto and let that one lie by.
Well, don't be using them on my picks.
You can save it for you.
All right. So that takes us to pick 8, which is yours, Jordan.
All right. So this was number 3 on my list. Wow. I don't know how high it would be for any of you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get back to a classic, The Magnificent Seven, 1960.
Ride on.
Ride on. Somehow I don't think you solved my problem.
Solving your problems isn't in our line.
We deal in lead, friend.
So do I. We're in the same business, huh?
Only as competitors.
Get up and face me! Do you get up?
Look what I found.
So that's where they were. You hid them.
Sure they hid them. But she won't tell me where. They're afraid. She's afraid of me, you, him, all of us. Farmers. Their families told them we'd rape them.
Director John Sturges, who made The Great Escape and Ice Station Zebra, and has another great kind of all-star Murderers Row cast: Yul Brynner, Eli Wallach, Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson, Robert Vaughn, James Coburn, and others. So this is basically a remake of The Seven Samurai, which might be my favorite movie of all time. So Akira Kurosawa was very influenced by American Westerns. He liked what he saw from Hollywood and made a samurai movie that, embodied a Western. And then this movie comes out and influenced a bunch of Western directors. So they took the story. It's a group of gunfighters who are all loners and their own, they ride alone. And they get hired to come together to protect this small little village in Mexico that keeps getting raided by bandits. And they're just poor farmers. They don't really have much to pay them with, so they can't hire the best of the best. They have to, these guys are kind of the washouts and the scrubs, and the people, they don't get along with anybody or that kind of deal. So again, just a classic Western, spawned 3 sequels. And apparently a TV series from 1998 to 2000, which was fairly recent. I don't remember there being a TV series, but it lasted 3 years. And, of course, was remade in 2016 and has one of the most iconic Western theme songs of all time, composed by Elmer Bernstein, that dun 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 dun, which has been used in commercials and a million, something that spoofs cowboys or whatever, we'll use that song and you instantly have that feeling of that, that classic 1960s colorful Western full of daring do and guns and horses and all kind of fun stuff.
I not a Magnificent Seven guy. But yeah, I'm curious to hear what you say, Jared.
I have seen it. It's been a few years, so I have not watched it again recently. I did not have it on my list, just because it was not one that really stuck out to me. But I do, I get the influence. I get, it was obviously very influential and very well known, very well liked. So I kind of agree with Jordan. Like, I like that we threw another kind of old-timey one on here. So I kind of don't mind it being here in the top 10. If we're going to have another old-timey one in this area, that makes sense that it's Magnificent Seven, because that's one of the classic westerns. But yeah, personally, I don't love it, but I'm not gonna do that.
I don't love it either, but I haven't seen it in a long time. I'm not gonna use one of my vetoes. I'm gonna try to protect my number one here. Magnificent Seven at 8. You couldn't have done better than that.
Well, I didn't get the number 7 pick.
So it's me. Well, already it's a total mess because I have like 6 movies I need to get on here, and I have 3 picks. So it's a disaster. So I'm going to have to slip in a $5 bill Kurt Russell movie here somewhere. I'm choosing between 2 at this spot. I would go with 1, but I'm not going to bait any vetoes. I feel like either one of these I pick, it could easily get vetoed. But either way, I get to talk about it for a second. See how it works. But I
see what you're doing.
But I'm not gonna. I'm gonna skip one. It doesn't need to be in the top 10. So we'll talk about it later in our honorable mentions. But so my number 7, I'm gonna go with Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight.
Got room for one more? They call him the hangman. When the handbill says dead or alive, the rest of us just shoot you in the back, come up on top of a perch somewhere and bring you in dead over a saddle. But when John Roof the hangman catches you, you hang.
Get in, boys! This here is Daisy Domergue. She's wanted dead or alive for murder. When that sun comes out, I'm taking this woman to hang. Is there anybody here committed to stopping me from doing that?
Well. Looks like Minnie's haberdashery is about to get cozy for the next few days.
Yes, it does.
From 2015. I went and saw this in Pittsburgh with a buddy. We got to see the 70 millimeter version.
We should definitely swap because that should be number 8.
I know.
And 7 should be 7.
I know. You screwed it up.
7 is 8 and 8 is 7.
You screwed it up. But got to see the Roadshow version where they had an overture before, which we were late for. But 70 millimeter, gorgeous movie. It was a cool experience to get to go to that. But this is that ensemble piece, like most of his movies are, with had Samuel L. Jackson and Kurt Russell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Walton Goggins, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, Bruce Dern, Zoe Bell. It goes on and on. We'll leave the surprises in there. Other people rent it, but it's just set mostly in the one room. The haberdashery, I think whatever her name was is haberdashery, but there's so much I love about this movie. Like the dialogue is, of course, awesome, and how the story is told and the way it's shot. Like I said, he shot it in that way that made this small room. You could see everybody in the room almost all the time. Like it just was the depth of this room and just the mystery of who poisoned the drink and who, this. And Jennifer Jason Leigh is amazing in it. Kurt Russell is so good. Oh, when he busts that guitar and, just everything about it. The Lincoln Letter, just, I love it. I love it. I was just like sitting there with my mouth hanging open the whole time watching it. That's just exactly my jam. So I love this movie and I really think it should be in the top 10. So the order of vetoes would go to Jordan. You would be commenting.
Yeah, I love the movie too. My only hesitation is, again, it's very recent, so it's not usually for me to really love a movie is one I have to watch over, and watch it over the course of years and really ingrain itself in my head. So these very recent ones are hard for me to say, oh, it's the best of all time. But there's not a whole lot better than that. I remember sitting in the theater, like you said, like it wasn't fancy 70 millimeter, but it was like the cold.
And I don't know what you were watching.
And yeah. But yeah, just
Apple Watch.
His use of visuals plus his normal dialogue, just sitting in a room talking is just tense and exciting. So, yeah.
This is not my favorite Tarantino movie. I've got a few others ahead of this, but I think I only watched it once, but I did like it when I watched it. And yeah, I had a feeling this would be on someone's list, and I have no issues with it being in the top 10. I mean, it's
excellent.
It's solid, so.
Excellent. Now I just have to fit the other 5 in my last 2 spots. All right. So that takes us to number 6, which is Jared. One of his second to last pick.
And I feel like everybody's got to bring it. Like, these got 6. We got 6 left.
Guys,
these all got to be stone cold.
We can only be overlapping so much. So don't think that somebody else is going to do it at this point. You may be surprised what people like more than something else. Because when you get they may have it right there with you, but their number 4 is more important than that movie. So
I'm looking at 4 movies right now. So I've got 2 picks left. So I feel like 3 of them you guys probably also have. But again, you don't want to.
Everybody's trying to get their special pick in there.
Yeah. So I could throw my kind of maybe off the wall one out here.
See, he's listening to nothing. It's like we're not
listening
here.
To Seth, I'm worried about doing that. So I don't think I'm going to. So I'm going to go maybe a little safer here and do, although someone may veto it because they want it higher on the list, I guess is a possibility. I've only got 2 picks left, so I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go based on a 1968 novel from 2010, Coen Brothers version of True Grit.
Mr. Cockburn, in your 4 years as U.S. Marshal, how many men have you shot?
Shot or killed?
Let us restrict it to killed so that we may have a manageable figure.
Mr. Cockburn?
What do you want, girl?
I'm looking for the man who killed my father. The man's name is Tom Chaney, and I need somebody to go after him.
What's your name?
My name is Mattie Ross. Are you some kind of law?
I'm a Texas Ranger. I know Chaney. It is at least a 2-man job taking him alive.
Marshal Cockburn? Can we depart this afternoon?
We?
I'm going with you.
Congratulations, you've graduated from marauder to wet nurse.
We're being followed.
What do we do, Marshal?
You missed your shot, Cockburn.
Just let this go.
I thought you were going to say the sun was in your eyes. That is to say, your eye.
I assume Jordan probably had this on one of his, but maybe he wants a number 2. I don't know. So this, of course, Jeff Bridges and one of his great defining roles.
Matt Damon.
Hat
Damon. He just that's how he acts. He picks out a hat, and that's what he's going to be. That movie.
Haley Steinfeld is
breakout role.
Breakout role, yes. And Josh Brolin also. I was looking it up. It was nominated for 10 Oscars, did not win any, but it was well received. Obviously, at the time it came out. But I mean, it's great. I mean, the performances are great. Jeff Bridges is amazing. Now, full disclosure, I don't think I've ever watched the original. I've seen parts of it, but I've never watched the whole.
Then you've never even seen the sequel, Rooster Cogburn?
Seen some of that one. That's one with like Katharine Hepburn, right?
I don't freaking know.
Yeah, I think so. But of course, the Coens are great with how they write, but there's a kind of old timey kind of language thing that they do in this movie that it's flowery, but it's like kind of gritty. I don't know how they do it, but I love the language and the way they talk in this movie. It's great. Just the speech patterns they use. You can just sit there and listen to it. But to me, it's great. I rewatched it again recently. I love everything about it. It's great. I'm afraid Jordan's going to be mad. It's cleared out at number 6. I don't know.
I had the original one higher than that one.
Wow. I'd say
he's never seen
I've
that.
not really seen the original.
Yeah, 1969, John Wayne. It was Glenn Campbell in the role of Hat Damon and Kim Darby as the girl. It's John Wayne's only Oscar. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, it was just sort of, here's a showy performance for John Wayne's whole career. Let's give him an Oscar for this one. So, Rooster won the Duke his Oscar. And I always really liked that movie. And then, oh man, the Coens are going to remake it. And it was fine. Like, I like it. I think it's really good, but it's not my favorite of their.
I could tell he had a bad read on you, Jordan. Like he was just like, this is going to be hard. So man, I was like, you got a bad read on him. I don't think so. I really like this movie. It was not in my top 10, but it almost was. It was very close. I think she's great in it. I think everybody's good in it. Like you said, the language. There's other movies. There's another movie I'm going to bring up that does that kind of stuff too. But I really like the movie, but I don't have a lot to say about it. Other, I prefer this version to the old one. It's beautiful, like most Coen things. Like very enjoyable to watch. I like every piece of it, but it doesn't come into like one of my favorites, so I won't fight you on it. It's not top 5. You didn't try to slip it in the top 5.
Outside of the top 5, so it's something to veto.
We'll allow it. And it's your last 2 picks. I'm not going to fight you. Well, everybody's being pretty nice. I don't know how many vetoes are going to come flying here soon when we're trying to fit in, shoehorn this stuff in, because that wasn't one that I thought was going to take up a space I needed. Like, oh.
Well, I don't know how I could veto a Coen movie, but I have been pondering it.
You could. If you expect he could do better.
Like I said, they could be doing him a favor if he has more he wants on the list. But,
yeah, he got to talk about this.
I could think something you probably disliked even more. So just test me. Try.
But this movie, like I said, it was nominated for a ton of Oscars. Like, it made a lot of money. Like, Westerns they're few and far between nowadays.
Oh yeah.
And it's even fewer that they're big hits. So something about this movie clicked with people. So it probably does deserve to be on this list as a one of the examples of a modern Western that did it right. So
this is you can't take it back. If you pass on this veto, you can't take it back. This is one of the 6 slots that are left. Do you think he could put something in there you like better?
Nah, I don't want to risk
trying
it.
to make you use a veto. I'm not going to use one, but I already said.
All right, I got 3 more that I think definitely should be on the list, and only 2 slots. So,
well, be careful how you do this.
I know it's a rough game I'm playing.
There's a minefield here.
I just feel like this one has to be on the list. We have not yet added a Clint Eastwood movie.
I knew that's what one you were going to say.
Which seems almost impossible. So I'm going to have to go with, I think, the pinnacle of his career, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The good. The bad.
Wagons. The answers. The showdown. The reason. The goal.
1966 spaghetti western by Sergio Leone. This was just in our threequels list. It was on my list for best threequels.
Kind of felt like it was coming.
Right.
It was in your threequels.
So this was the third movie from the Man with No Name trilogy. There's a trio of gunslingers all trying to find this cache of Confederate gold that has been hidden. A dying soldier hid this gold during the Civil War. And these three guys, played by Clint Eastwood, Eli Wallach, and Lee Van Cleef, are all on the trail of it. And so the first two movies in this trilogy are excellent, but this one just ramps up. It's longer, it's more involved, more complicated, more set pieces, bigger budget, and just a classic 1966, right, as I said, right in the middle of that spaghetti western phase where it's super stylized. There's quick cuts that build the tension between these long shots, and then quick close-ups to eyeballs or a twitching mustache or a hand, wavering over a holster, and it just kind of defined what the western looks like for that whole decade. And again, the music by Ennio Morricone is there's no more iconic piece of music than the theme from Good, Bad, and the Ugly. So just an excellent movie, one I rewatched recently just to make sure that the memory lived up to the hype. And the gunplay, the shootouts, the high noon kind of stuff is great. But there's also they get caught up. There's battles going on with these giant armies. They blow up a bridge. So it's just the scale of it is so big, and it has something to say about war and the absurdity and the horror of that is at the behind soldiers who have ever fought a war. So just terrific movie, terrific western.
Well, I gotta go first here according to this. I'm not gonna veto it because we're going so modern. Like, I feel like, boy, we would deserve to get raked over the coals for vetoing this and putting in other stuff with it.
When we started this, I wrote down John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, and I was going to mark how many each one had on the list.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like 5-4, right. And it's not
happening. It's not. The biggest reason I'm not going to veto it is because I have 4 movies I'd like to get in there, and there's still 4 spots. So if everyone cooperates, I can still get all my movies in here. And so I'm going to continue to cooperate and not fight you on this. I like it fine, but it's not one of my favorite westerns. I think I like the end. I like the Eli Wallach's Groucho Marx going around smoking everybody's cigars, and it's fine. It's just, this is when I talk about Saturday afternoons when I was a kid, and you were like captive to what was on TV anyway. This was what you got, was long Clint Eastwood movies.
For the next 6 hours, we're watching.
Right, we're watching this movie, and it was fine. It was that, or I was either watching that or James Bond. It was like that's what was on Saturday afternoon. So I'm used to it, but it's so slow compared to nowadays. Like, some of these movies have such good dialogue and all this, so and still bring the tension. But it's such a classic. It's well known as one of the best cowboys. So I'm not going to touch it. What do you think, Jared?
I came in fully prepared to try to veto a bunch of Clint Eastwood movies. So I'm not a huge Clint Eastwood guy. I'm not a big spaghetti Western guy.
That's my other problem. I'm not a huge spaghetti Western guy.
I cannot be like, if
you'll go down in history, you'll be the guy that did that. The ugly.
I had Pale Rider, Outlaw Josie Wales. I have these written down, but I would never say any of those are my favorite.
I wanted to veto those at like number 12.
Yeah.
Now this, I can't. I was having a difficult time trying to veto Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Right? Yeah, that's the iconic one. Yeah, that's the. To not have a spaghetti Western on this list is kind of a shame, right? If we're gonna have one on there, let's have Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
I agree.
So it's like,
yeah, he's not gonna fight you on his pick.
I get it. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, but yeah, there's enough that makes it iconic that I think it deserves a place on the list. I'm okay that it's in the top 5, top 10. So I'm not a huge Penny Sword fan. Warning for future picks coming up here in the top 4. But yeah, so I'll leave it. I'm not gonna argue.
All right. There's 4 spaces left. This is my last pick before the number 1 spot. And
just do the right thing. You know what needs to
happen. I don't. There's 4 left. I think I don't know what to do because all 4 of these should be on the list. And they should be the top 4 as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what you guys are going to do though. So
see that makes me nervous now because my number 2 I feel should definitely be on the list. But you've got 2 vetoes locked and loaded. You could drop them, and I'd go and I'd fall off a balcony.
My 2 vetoes are pretty strictly to get the number 1 I want. One of these I could live with not being on the list, but I want it on there. This is it. I like the beauty of this is that we don't know for sure. Like you should, the not discussing beforehand. So that's the tension of just like, we have risked it all on this other garbage. It's all garbage now behind us. Only thing
the bench is not very deep on mine. So if you start vetoing stuff, we're going to go to some really crappy movies in the top 10.
Yeah, right. Well, the point is, if you screw it up and I veto it, then you're that much closer to picking one of mine, right? Which you will desperately try not to is the problem. I really hate to. My number 4 though is one like I'm 100% one of you guys. Both of you guys are going to pick it. So I feel like I'm wasting my time to do that. I'm going to shuffle them around here and let you guys pick that one. And I'm going to go with 2012's Django Unchained.
Do you know what a bounty hunter is?
You kill people. And they give you a reward.
Better they are, bigger the reward.
I'm looking for the Riddle brothers. However, I don't know what they look like, but you do. They called my wife. They sold her. But I don't know who to.
Calvin Candy. That's the repellent gentleman who owns her.
Broomhilda is my property, and I can choose to do with my property whatever I so desire.
Help me find the Riddle brothers, and I'll take you to rescue your wife.
Let's get to it.
My name is Dr. King Schultz. This is my valet, Django.
Come on over. We got a fight going on that's a good bit of fun. Where'd you dig him up?
Yeah, fortuitous turn of events brought Django and myself together.
Move it. Well, I've heard tell about you. You got me curious.
I'm curious what makes you so curious.
Something up with these 2. Them old boys done rode a lot of miles, went to a lot of trouble just to get that gal.
Hey, little troublemaker.
You silver-tongued devil, you.
They playing your ass for a fool.
I spent my whole life surrounded by black faces. I only had one question. Why don't they just rise up and kill the whites?
Who knows what could happen?
Quentin Tarantino again. This is the movie I was talking about when you said the flowery dialogue of 2010's True Grit. Christoph Waltz. I mean, you see this in other movies. When you go back, it's like everyone's using the proper English or something back in the days when half the people couldn't even read, supposedly, but everyone's speaking better than we do nowadays. But he plays, the bounty hunter, Dr. King Schultz. You have Jamie Foxx as Django Freeman, Leonardo DiCaprio, and this is what he should have won the Oscar for, Calvin Candy. Kerry Washington or Broomhilda, but it's with the help of a German bounty hunter, a freed slave sets out to rescue his wife from a brutal Mississippi plantation owner. Of course, Samuel L. Jackson's in it also. It's just a great revenge fantasy Western with a great soundtrack, a great dialogue. I mean, it's beautiful. Costuming's amazing. I love this movie. I love it. So I really think it should be in the top 10. And I'm curious how you guys feel about it.
See, when you said Hateful Eight, I thought that meant that was your pick between those two.
I know you did.
I really didn't think you'd have two Tarantinos.
You're wrong.
And I like Django better than Hateful Eight.
So do I. We're all together.
When I said Hateful Eight was not my favorite Tarantino,
you let it in.
Ranks above it. Yeah.
Sounds like we did it, guys.
Now the question is it a Western?
How is it
it's
not a Western?
Maybe it's a Southern. It's a Southern.
It's a Southern.
Not a Western. I had this one on my list.
Hat, horse, gun.
Yeah, I had this on my list, and I thought, I don't know. We'll
I like the way you die, boy.
Yeah, it's revenge, it's gunfights, it's riding horses, it's bounty hunters. It's got all the elements you need. And to me, this I should have vetoed Hateful Eight then. Maybe made you do this.
We both should have.
Yeah.
Too late.
But yeah, I love it. I can't say anything bad about it. I'd say I think it was maybe criticized for, it was not a realistic portrayal of the horrors of slavery, but it's like, yeah, that's not what it's trying to do, right? I mean, you have to understand
it is a fantasy,
the tone it's going for, yeah. But,
it's a pulp revenge story, yeah.
You had my curiosity. Now you have my attention. I like and the whole you've seen a million articles about it, but Leonardo DiCaprio, smashing the glass and cutting his hand, really continuing the scene, and my only criticism of it is, and this is also goes with the Hateful Eight, is with this movie, Tarantino took that turn to this splattery, watery blood explosions, in these movies that I think that's not how I would do it. I prefer a little more realistic, with that, but that's my only criticism. It's one of my favorite movies. This is a top 25 movie for me, so of all time. So yeah, sounds like we're good.
I think it's probably Samuel L. Jackson's best modern performance.
Oh, right.
The way he flips between how he acts in front of white people and how he acts when there are no white people in the room is just for a very over the top movie. There's something really chilling about his performance and just so good, because he can coast a little bit, we'll say, on some of his paycheck roles, but this one was excellent.
I can't believe it. Wow.
Hey, we're in the top 4. I gotta say,
let it all hang out, man. All right.
I can't in good conscience veto it. Like I said, we messed up and should have vetoed Hateful Eight. So yeah. I like Django way more than I like Hateful Eight. So
is that am I doing this for your tears, or did I play you like a fiddle? Okay. Jared, this is your last pick.
It's my last pick.
I know what it is.
Got a couple on.
I feel like I've taken all the context clues. I feel like I know exactly what it is. It's the one I just did not pick.
Yeah, I've got a couple in here, but it's my last pick, so I got to go with my ride or die here on the end from 1993.
Do it.
Tombstone.
Oh,
I'm going to Tombstone.
Never saw a rich man didn't wind up with a guilty conscience.
I already got a guilty conscience. Might as well have the money too.
Bad herb, huh? Heard of you.
Listen now, Mr. Kansas law dog. Law don't go around here. Savvy?
I'm retired.
Good. Those cowboys been telling everybody in town they're gonna clean you out. You know, you men are making a lot of money in this town. In the meantime, a lot of decent people are suffering.
For the first time in our lives, we got a chance to stop wandering and finally be a family. Now, this is trouble we don't need. You must be Doc Holliday.
That's the rumor.
You retired too?
Not me. I'm in my prime.
How the hell are you?
Piss on you, wife.
That's you now.
Don't you ever try to manhandle a cowboy, because we'll cut your goddamn pimp's heart out, you understand? We're gonna have a future in this town. It's gotta have some law and order.
I can't beat him, can I?
The way to do you, brother. You're the one.
There he comes, Apollo.
You're gonna lead. You got a fight coming. Coming today.
You tell him I'm coming! And hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Tombstone.
that's not the one I thought you were gonna pick, but
Really?
it's one of the ones that I wanted in here. So this was my original number 3. So boom, you did it. Perfect slot.
Right in the spot there. So this is George Cosmatos is the director, or
Never
maybe
knew that
Kurt
till
Russell
today.
is the director.
I never knew who was the director till today. I
Well,
looked at
also Kurt Russell basically says he directed it. There's
Right.
all this behind. There was all
Him
they,
and Hell.
hired the first
him
director,
and Hell came with him.
It's a lot of behind the scenes turmoil, but basically Kurt Russell did it himself. But yes, I don't know how much I could say about Tombstone. It's the gunfight at the OK Corral. It's Wyatt Earp, but I mean Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer in his greatest role he ever played.
Yes.
Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Powers Booth, Michael Bean, Charlton Heston shows up just to be awesome for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It's the most quotable. It's the most quotable movie on this list. You can rewatch it a million times. And also, the Wikipedia article in this movie contains my favorite sentence on Wikipedia. Quote,
To tell.
all the mustaches in the movie were real.
What?
That's what it says on Wikipedia. My favorite sentence.
Both. Yeah, you know what I like about it? It's so well put, and also I did not know that.
It's informative. Yeah.
I'm going to donate to Wikipedia next time.
That's whoever put that in there. Could be not true, but I like it. Wow, that was amazing. Yeah, I freaking love Tombstone. I love that movie. It's not perfect. The second half, is a little long, there's so much to love about it. It was it's a perfect cast. Got $5 bill, it's wider, it's got everything. I just one of the greatest performances, by Val Kilmer. It's almost perfect movie. I love it. Definitely happy to hear that is making the top 3. What do you think about that, Jordan?
And it was released. It was released 6 months before Kevin Costner's movie Wyatt Earp,
which I personally like that movie also. I've
never seen
Dennis Quaid did a little lesser Doc Holliday performance, I believe, but it's still a good movie. It is a good movie.
But yeah, so one of those weird coincidences that this one kind of beat it to the punch, had a better box office, and definitely a longer pop cultural impact. Yeah, I adore this movie. They said the quotes. Again, the memes, well, bye. That's become a meme that can be used infinitely.
Yeah.
And I also love the idea that the gunfight at the OK Corral isn't the big
Yeah, that's halfway through the movie.
That doesn't lead up to a big ending. That's a thing that happened, and then something because
caused a lot of other
history
things.
Even show that's not a huge event. It's not like thousands were killed or anything. But so this famous gunfight leads to an even bigger piece of action. But yeah, just testosterone and long coats and real mustaches. What more could you want from it?
Amazing. I'm feeling way excited about this list. Nobody has
not enough vetoes. We all feel like
I feel like I do have enough vetoes now.
Well, I don't feel good now.
So now it's Jordan's final pick.
Where did you have Tombstone, Jordan, on yours? Was that
my number two? So I had 2 movies left in one slot, and hoping Tombstone was going to come out of one of you. So
I feel like 100% I know what you're going to say. What your number one is?
I don't think you do.
We're going to veto you. We're going to veto you 3 times, so it's going to be your 4th.
Wow! If there's I can't believe that, because I believe you that I don't know then, because I really thought I did. It was a movie that I felt like I liked the least of you of the 3 of us, and now it's not even going to make the top 10.
Now, see, this is my number 1, and I feel like you're going to veto it, both of you. And wow.
I'm excited.
I don't know what's left for a number 2.
It's electric in here. I don't know if you guys know. This is electricity in here.
This is my hand. When you mention this list, it's the first thing I thought of.
Then I am right.
No, I don't know that I've ever even talked about this movie, but I
feel like
you definitely have talked about this movie.
I feel like I know what you're going to say too, but I don't know.
You've definitely talked about this movie that I'm thinking of, so then I don't know.
All right. Is it a movie from 1956?
That sounds about right. I don't know the year.
Yes, it is.
The Searchers.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I was sure this was your top 5 for sure.
From the thrilling pages of life rides a man you must fear and respect. A man whose unconquerable will and boundless determination carved a lusty, rough, and boisterous slice of history called The Searchers. It's John Wayne as Ethan Edwards, who had a rare kind of courage. The courage that simply keeps on and on, far beyond all reasonable endurance, never thinking of himself as martyred, never thinking of himself as brave.
So we'll find him in the end, I promise you. We'll find him.
Here is a story of a man, hard and relentless, tender and passionate, of people who dared to challenge a hostile land. Here is drama of great love and aching loneliness.
I found him. I found Lucy.
What you saw was a buck wearing Lucy's dress. I found Lucy back in the canyon.
What was she?
What do you want me to do? Draw you a picture? Spell it out? Don't ever ask me. As long as you live, don't ever ask me more.
And if you don't hear my first holler, you better read my mind, because I don't aim to raise no 2 hollers on any subject at hand.
Yes, sir.
Boy, watch that knife.
Go, Martin, please.
Stand aside, Martin.
No, you don't, Ethan. Ethan, no, you don't.
Stand aside. Looks like you got yourself surrounded.
Yeah, and I figure on getting myself unsurrounded. Let's go!
This was my number 5.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember ever talking about this.
Yeah, you talked about this. We were doing some sort of list. Okay. And you talked
his scratch off poster, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's because I remember you for sure talking about this. Yeah.
So the American Film Institute named it the greatest American Western when they did their big 100 best countdown, and has ranked it at number 12 in the 100 greatest American movies of all time as their most recent list. So critically, it's beloved. This is John Ford, classic director of dozens and dozens of these movies, going back to Stagecoach in 1939, and it continued on after this. But I feel like this is the peak of his career. I think it's the peak of Westerns. It's the peak of John Wayne's career. It was just at that turning point from the classic serial shoot 'em up Saturday afternoon matinee, where the good noble white-hatted cowboy rides off and kills the savage Indian and saves the day. Like, that was just starting to tilt into, is that the story we should be telling? Is that the truth of the West? Is that what is that honest? And it's from the 50s, so it doesn't quite go to some of these modern links, but I feel like it's the first step in that direction. So John Wayne is Ethan Edwards, who's a Civil War veteran, just gets home from the war. He's been gone for 8 years and sees his family and is just never comfortable being a civilian. Can't go back to life, comfortable life on a farm somewhere. And his niece is abducted by Comanche warriors. So he and his there's an adopted son, so it'd be like his adopted nephew, who is like an 8th Native American, go off and try to save her and spend years tracking her down and trying to find her. And John Wayne is terrible. He's a racist. He's not a good person. And there's question, is he doing it because he loves his niece and wants to rescue her, or does he just want to go kill Indians and just get revenge for just whatever he thinks has gone wrong? So this movie influenced multiple generations of movie makers, from Star Wars, where Luke gets home and finds Aunt Beru's burned body. Like, that's straight from this movie. The Avengers, Age of Ultron, Captain America standing in the doorway, not being able to go into Hawkeye's farmhouse. That is a shot directly from this movie. Vince Gilligan said he modeled the finale of Breaking Bad on this movie. So just an influence still being felt today. And it's gorgeous to look at. It was filmed in Technicolor VistaVision widescreen and filmed all in Monument Valley in Arizona and Utah. So it looks like the most Western ever Western of the big vistas and the deserts and the pillars of sandstone and all these desert. And then there's blizzard because it goes so long that it goes through the winter and the summer. So just a gorgeous movie to look at. And again, it's old school. I was looking up again Wikipedia. One of the reviews from back in the day was like, it's too fast paced. Everything goes at a breakneck speed, which like old critics like, slow down. This is too crazy. But today's modern audience might look at it very different, that it is a little slow, and it's still not woke. I hate the word woke, whatever, but like, it's still a little bit, the natives are still kind of just the savages, or they're very childlike, but he kind of frames it as the stuff the white dudes do in response to it is even more savage and even worse, and just not a proportional response. So I just rewatched it recently. Turner Classic Movies did a whole series called Reframed, Classic Films in the Rearview Mirror, where they showed problematic movies, Gone with the Wind, Breakfast at Tiffany's, like classic movies that have something maybe wrong with them from today's society. And this was one of the first ones they did, and they had a nice discussion about separating the icky parts from what it's trying to do, and the art behind it all. So I don't know. It's, again, it maybe hasn't aged the best of all these movies, but it's my favorite Western. And it was trying to do something different, trying to make a complicated hero out of John Wayne, who, like I said, is pretty much the same guy in every movie, but this one was something different. And apparently was the first movie to do a making of feature where they shot some behind the scenes footage and like showed how some of the stunts were done and stuff. where there's a Warner Brothers Presents TV show. So it was one of the first DVD extras ever filmed for a movie.
They knew they needed it for the DVD.
Yeah. That's that forward thinking. And John Wayne's repeated quote through the movie, "That'll be the day," inspired Buddy Holly to write the classic song. Some fun facts.
I like fun facts.
I can't add much to that. I mean, you started out with this was on my list. I expected this to be top 5 or so. So I had not seen this movie until I think it was during like quarantine, so maybe a year ago. It was the first time I'd seen it. I was like, "Oh, that's one I always should have seen." I watched it, and I was very impressed. Yeah, I love the fact that just so many of those westerns back in the day. It's like, oh, somebody gets kidnapped. Okay, we're gonna ride up and have a gun, and it's like, it's like years and by the time they find her, she's Natalie Wood. So it's like it's the whole like lifetime takes place.
That's a long time.
The scope is epic. But yeah, I mean, obviously like you said, it looks more like a western than any western you've ever seen. So to me, this deserves a spot.
I think it's
let's just stop now because there's nothing to put number 1.
Yeah. I was thinking when I watched it again in the past year, I was really so much more impressed with this than anything else from the era. Like, having watched all these older ones, this was just far surpassed all that stuff. I was really impressed. The hype is real. I don't know who the other guy is in it. Well,
Jeffrey Hunter.
Okay, well, he's good in it. I thought he was good, it's a great movie. I was really impressed with it. I was really happy that it was a classic that I really liked and couldn't wait for it to be in our top 10. I felt for sure it would make the top 5, and it was at my 5. I'm really happy with it at 2. Nobody vetoed anything. Might as well just let it ride, because I don't know what I'll just go ahead and tell you up front. I have no backup. Like, literally all my stuff got on here. Basically, I think it would really sully the list to have anything at number 1 other than my number 1.
Well, I think I can go ahead and write what
I'm sure you know what it is. My only fear is a comment that Jared made earlier. That's why I made it. There was actually 2 comments made. One, Jordan said that one movie was his favorite of this person, and then Jared said he was just out to veto. So
approached this list. No, like I had already filled in number 1. I kind of knew that was because it wasn't going to be on my list, but I knew one of you two would have it way at the top. So
it's me,
I kind of went ahead and knew it would be slotted in there.
This is it's a top 20 all-time movie for me. It's the comment on westerns and his entire career. Best Picture, 1992, I believe. Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven.
Step over to the office and get the bullwhip.
A whipping? That's all they get after what they've done? Get out of there!
It was a matter of honor.
They're paying $1,000 to whatever kills the 2 boys that cut up Delilah.
In a time when lawmen were killers.
What are y'all looking at?
You English, Bob? Outlaws were heroes.
Well, I thought that you were dead. Hell, I even thought I was dead. Till I found out I was just in Nebraska.
And a bad reputation.
You're the one who killed William Harvey and robbed that train over Missouri?
Was as good as gold.
My guess is you're calling yourself Mr. William Money.
Say what?
You don't look no meaner than hell, cold-blooded damn killer.
I ain't like that anymore, kid.
$1,000 reward, Will.
Nobody's gonna come.
So you still have that Spencer rifle, huh?
Yeah.
He's my partner. He don't go, I don't go.
What's it come to 3 ways?
Just because we're going on this killing, that don't mean I'm going to go back to being the way I was.
Are you really gonna kill them cowboys?
do not like assassins or men of low character.
We ain't bad men no more. We're farmers.
Savages! A bunch of bloody savages!
Assassins!
Oh, I guess they have it coming.
We all have it coming, Captain.
Some legends will never be forgotten. Some wrongs can never be forgiven.
Any man don't want to get killed. Better clear on out the back.
Unforgiven.
Like, we just talked about how quotable Tombstone is. Is this possibly even more quotable? Like, it's every line is an incredible quote. Like, and if Gene Hackman's Little Bill, Morgan Freeman is Ned, it's just, it's a great movie to me. I love it. I think it's just amazing. He's a bad guy, has done all this stuff in the past and all these killed women and children. He says now he's a pig farmer with his own family, and he's got to come back because somebody's been cutting up the whores. I believe, but come back to make some money. They're still paying, so to come back to do the job and stop Little Bill, and just the whole commentary on it, like the got English Bob and the reporter or whatever writer, kind of getting everyone's take, interviewing Little Bill. Little Bill thinks he's like this badass, the whole time, but he's disgusted by English Bob, and he's a show off. It's like we're talking about the Queen on 4th of July. It's just, that's hilarious to me. But it just all the talking about killing a man, the young kid who's can't see the consequences for quite some time, what he's getting into, and commenting, like when he really realizes, like saying, there's he's never going to breathe again. Like I was saying, kind of out of context, when I think about that friend of mine that just died recently, it's like, when you really think about that, like it's like the reality of that hitting you, like somebody's never going to breathe again. They're never, and just the answer to that, it's like, it's a hell of a thing killing a man, take away all he's ever had and all he's ever gonna. And it's like, it's got a lot of that stuff, and just dealing with, the career he's had, and that's halfway through his career, which is ridiculous. Like he thought that was it. He was making that commentary at the time. It was just like, anyway, I'm sure I'm not alone in the masses.
Get off of my lawn.
Yeah. And skeletons say, if that was, we could work then as a Western. That would be my replacement. That's what's going on.
That line, just that line itself is like, that is Westerns. Like that is, the good ones should deal with that kind of stuff. And I love any of those kind of movies that, has the guts to say, the West kind of sucked. It was terrible. We all like suffered, and it was not great. It wasn't the singing cowboys and the glitz and the rhinestones and stuff. So yeah, I definitely like that revisionist look back of the brutality of what it would have to have been like to be a character like him. But I just long ago I've added this one to my list with like Silence of the Lambs, movies that I like okay, but everyone else on the planet likes better than me. So I feel like I'm missing something, or I'm not on the right wavelength with this movie. So I like it quite a lot, but it's never been my favorite. No. But it's any top 10 you look at has this movie on it, and it deserves to be there. And it is again another Oscar winner that mainstream critical success, audience loved it. So across all spectrums, it's one of the best, and our best, I guess.
So yeah, I said we could have one Clint Eastwood on the list. Oh wait, we already have one.
Oh,
that's too bad. No. Yeah, I'm not the hugest Clint Eastwood fan, as I've established. I didn't have this one on my list because it's not one of my favorites, but I assumed it would be on someone else's list. I did rewatch it recently, and I liked it more on my rewatch. So, and like Jordan said, yeah, this is pretty universally loved. That it's it deserves a spot on the list.
Deserves got nothing to do with it.
Nice, perfect, well done. Yeah, I mean it's no Tombstone, but it's no, it's I can't veto. So I think that we did it.
I sure did. I nailed it.
It's a good list. I like
this. Is a great list. I'm super hyped. So what we're gonna do now? I'm sure we went forever, but we're still gonna go back through and count down our
tally.
list.
1 Kurt Russell movie, 2 Clint Eastwood movies.
No, not true.
3 John
2
Wayne.
Kurt Russell.
What else was? Oh, never mind. Hateful Eight. Okay. 2. So Kurt Russell ties with Clint Eastwood at 2. John Wayne at 3.
We're gonna count them down here and then do all our honorable mentions, which I know I've several. So we did a top 17. Nobody vetoed anything. No one had to do any of that mess. We
hold on to the veto so preciously.
Right.
Yeah.
When you should just get it. If there's something at the bottom of the list, just get it out of there.
Right. It's a good way. We're learning the lesson.
Yeah, in my defense, this was the first time I don't know what your guys' excuse was. I've never done it before. So, but yeah, my lesson was that I should have vetoed some of the stuff at the bottom of the list. I've learned.
We're back and forth. We can't figure it out either. This time we didn't use it all. Before we've used them too early and then didn't have them. It's a mess. Like honestly, that one so far. Like technically, I should have baited you guys with a different one. Got you to use it because there at the end you could have screwed me and I would have had to come up with something out of nowhere. Even having 2 vetoes, once it was vetoed, unless he overrode it, I don't know what I'd do. Doesn't do me any good.
I want the list to have Unforgiven at number 1 rather than
right. That's what I was
don't like.
That's what I'm banking on is like some sense, and they're like, that's the part. That's the collaboration part. We want that to be a good list. We're proud of. We don't have wasted our time. This certainly was not a waste of time. Come on. Anyway, at number 17, we had the
Who said that? I don't want to hear
the Dead from Jared with the first 2 picks. Yeah, like you said, we could have vetoed these if they were something real outlier we didn't like, and then it's not going to really annoy the person that much because then they get to talk about another movie they kind of like it around that level. So, their heart's not set on it or anything. Then at number 16, Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, a classic. 15, Ballad of Buster Scruggs wasn't as high as I thought it'd be from Jordan. Rio Bravo, very popular among the masses. Open Range, kind of an odd pick. I threw in there at 13. 12 Hostiles, I've never even seen, but I'm going to check out now. Dead Man from the 90s, Jim Jarmusch. Then we had our top 10, The Sisters Brothers. I recommend everybody check it out. It's be a good Saturday sit. Maybe wait till night. It's really pretty. You gotta have the room a little dark. Don't want sunlight on the TV for that one. Number 9, The Revenant is a Western, guys. We determined it 2 out of 3 at least. And it's pretty good. 8, Magnificent 7. This is it stands out on here. Jared and I, neither one super thrilled about it, but it's so well known. We're deferring. We just assume Jordan is better than us. Anyway, in most cases. 7, The Hateful Eight. We got these flipped. Screwed up the numbering there, but Hateful Eight. Everybody loves that. 6, Jared's second to last pick was True Grit 2010. I agree. It's the superior version. Deserves to be in the top 10. Number 5, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's a good spot for that. Of the classics. It should, good spot for it. Number 4, Django Unchained. We all agreed was good and should be there. I was surprised. I really thought one of you guys would be like, no, what are you talking about? But I was wrong.
Ka-Pow likes fun.
Yes, we like fun. That's our motto. We like fun. Number 3, Tombstone. Like this, probably we could have been our number one. It sounds like everybody loves it. Number two, The Searchers. We all kind of expected it to be in the top 5 and think it should be here. Number one, I pushed it so far up here, nobody could fight me on it. They should have snuck it in early. The real move for you guys was to suck it up and put it in here like number 10 and make me start using the vetoes, because I'd have vetoed it until I could get it as high as possible. So just I'll tell you that after the fact. You blew it. So number one, I'm forgiven as the commentary on the whole shebang. I think we have a hell of a Westerns list here. Skews modern, maybe not make some of the old fogies happy, but
that's why I wonder, how do you feel after all this? Of like, are you a Western fan? Did you think you were a Western? Did this change your idea? Because going into this, I'm like, yeah, I love Westerns. They're great. And then I had a couple I love, and then a whole bunch that are just fine.
I found the same thing. And as we do the honorable mentions, I'm going to say it's like, this was a fine movie, but compared to the quality of the modern with the much better dialogue and not just a lot of looking at each other, or the simple stories that they used to tell with the messed up values back then, that ruined a lot of them for me. Like, what are you talking like Outlaw Josie Wales? It's like every movie has to be like this. They were all making their own commentary, at the times that does not hold up. Like, oh, the North was gruesomely evil and out to just slaughter everyone, and it's just the modern commentary makes, I can more agree with, I guess.
And it's, you got to think back, like in the era of some of these older ones, they probably made like 300 Westerns a year, so it was like the ratio of, what we consider great classic, it's like, it's probably pretty low percent. Like, you can turn on, maybe like there's 150 Westerns I never even heard of, and they're all probably terrible. So it's like, yeah, it's a very low percentage that kind of made it out of that era as something that is still relevant and people talk about and think about to this day. Whereas, the modern ones where our list skewed are doing something new with it, doing something interesting with it, and that's kind of where we ended up landing for a lot of these. But
yeah, I think Cliff. The only one Cliff brought up was I think he made a regulators gift comment. So I was talking some Young Guns, which is it's rough. Young Guns 2. I liked them fine back when it was the early 90s, but wow. The Brat Pack
might have been able to fit that
Westerns.
in around Quick and the Dead, about 17, 16. He might have been able to squeeze that one in, but I don't know.
Yeah. I'll make you famous.
Do you have any runners up there, Jared?
I'm looking at my list right now. I only had 3 on my list that didn't get on the list, so I'm pretty happy with.
Wow, you had a pretty good run there.
I mean, I think I mentioned earlier, I got technically 4 because I had El Dorado on there, which was kind of the remake, if you will, of Rio Bravo that I wanted to give it some love. It's the one with Robert Mitchum and James Caan, along with John Wayne. So I had a little love for that one, which I did enjoy. And then the only other ones I had, we could have increased our Kurt Russell ratio with this one if I could have stuck it.
I had another Kurt Russell in my top 10 that I did not say.
2015 horror Western Bone Tomahawk.
So you wouldn't have vetoed that if I put it on.
I don't know. Maybe
depending
like
on how high.
It was the slot. Let's see where did I put it? I was gonna try it at 7 instead of Hateful Eight. See if you guys vetoed it and then come back with Hateful Eight.
I would have gladly left it.
Yeah,
I
really like that.
Yeah, directed by S. Craig Zoller.
Yeah, he's the guy that did Brawl and Cell Block 1999 or whatever. Great movie. And what's the other one? Oh, he's got that one with Mel Gibson. It's fun. But this and the Brawl one.
Dragged across pavement.
Yeah.
So, have
you seen the Brawl movie? Brawl and Cell Block 99? No. Recommended. If you like this.
Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, Matthew Fox,
yeah.
Richard Jenkins. And it's kind of a horror, like fighting this weird cannibal tribe of weirdos. So it's super uber violent
and that wishbone towards the end, that's a killer. That's a killer.
It was fun.
Yeah, I like that.
About the other one I had. This one I thought maybe I could sneak in at the bottom of the list. This might have been an easy one for you guys to veto. 1990. How about we don't go west, we go Quigley Down Under.
You know what? Where would you have picked that? What number would you have picked that?
I considered it at 17. Honestly, I got at the bottom of the list.
If I had 17, I would have put Quigley Down Under.
Nice, yeah. So
he's Tom Selleck. With any movie where it is like you have a special gun, like I'm into it. He's got a special gun and he doesn't use anything else. And he's like the whole scene where
his mustache is real.
His not that's in the Wikipedia. Like that's the whole Wikipedia. First off, this mustache won the Oscar in 1990 for best thing in a movie. I swear, like he gets shot and they're stuck out in the desert and he pulls himself by his mustache over to his gun. And then he has to pull himself by the other side over to get them big bullets. And then meanwhile, the guy is like riding away at 10,000 miles an hour, just whipping that cart. Like he's going to get, he's going to get shot. Like Quigley ain't going to have that, Yeah. That's a great movie. Like it's totally underrated because first off, you have Alan Rickman as the bad guy.
Rickman as the
totally
villain,
die-harden it up, like
yes,
and is amazing. Ben Mendelsohn is in there.
It's very young kid, Ben Mendelsohn as the henchman.
Wow. Yeah, got orange hair or something. It's I remember making fun of it back then, and now I like it. So
I still think of it every single time I see that movie and reference that movie. I think of us a bit on Conan O'Brien's show from like 1996, where he did the lips talking in the still photo, and it was and it was like, okay, name your favorite movie on 3, 1, 2, 3, Quigley, and they both say Quigley Down Under, and they're like, Quigley Down Under, and they're so shocked. And
wasn't it? It was like I think it was like Saddam Hussein and like Bill Clinton or something. They were both like Quigley Down Under, and I don't know why I always think Quigley Down Under.
So when I see that written out anywhere, I hear Quigley Down Under.
We basically just did that skit right now. Me and Jared both.
But, it's like basically he's an American cowboy. He goes down to Australia to get hired by this wealthy rancher played by Alan Rickman, who wants him to basically go around and kill Aborigines that are like causing them trouble.
Roy!
So it's like, no, screw you. I'm going to do my own thing. So it's kind of a survival tale in the outback. He meets the crazy lady down there, and they hang out, and he gets help from the Aborigines. It's kind of dumb, but it's fun. It's a fun lesson.
Little twist at the end. Little twist because he's always using the gun the whole movie, and they throw in a little twist at the end. But it's good. What else you got there?
The only other one I had on my list was, I thought maybe Seth, seemed like something Seth would have on his list, but probably not Jordan, but maybe Seth. From 2007.
I know what it is.
Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
It just was out of reach.
I had a few spots where I was thinking about maybe trying to slip this one in. It's so of course Brad.
It was Pitt honestly it was above. The way the list is weird. It's above Quigley for me, but it's like too far to make it. And it's too in the middle to make it on the list.
So it's Brad Pitt has Jesse James, Casey Affleck as the coward Robert Ford, but it's got Jeremy Renner, Sam Rockwell, Jordan's favorite weirdo character actor Garrett Dillahunt is in there as part of the gang. But it's like it's very like true to history, right? So it's like they take every little detail of who was in the gang, who was where, what happened. So I like that historical part of it because then I can go read on Wikipedia who is this guy, who is this guy. But
his mustache is real.
has some very just very memorable kind of shots and cinematography that it was just very unique the way they did it. And it's like, again, it's not a shoot 'em up kind of Western. It's very meditative and contemplative is what people kind of call it, which typically I don't like those kind of movies. But this one, I don't know. I like the cast. I like the way they did it. It's just the kind of realness of it or something. I don't know. But it's about like fame and obsession, and the Casey Affleck character is just kind of weirdo little dude who's kind of obsessed with Jesse James, but he kind of gets to be part of the gang, but Jesse doesn't like him. And it's a very interesting dynamic of kind of how that works. But yeah, I rewatched this one again recently as well, and I do really like it.
Yeah, it's good.
I noted a couple. We didn't have any comedies on the list. I think Cliff definitely would have picked Three Amigos.
Yeah.
The only one I thought maybe deserved a spot, Blazing Saddles.
Yeah. I watched it.
Deserved.
I watched it and I just,
yeah.
It's a classic.
I mean, you can argue either way that it has it stood up to the time or has it not. Does it have a point to make still in the modern day? Sure, I can argue that, or I can also argue that it's.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
The other comedy I wrote down that we had just talked about the other day, when the last time I saw Jared, was a made-for-TV movie starring Willie Nelson. Once Upon a Texas Train. It's about a bunch of old farts. Yeah, who just Willie Nelson just gets out of prison for robbing a train, and they're all old, gray-haired, over-the-hill guys, and they're going to do it one more time, one more for the road. As Chuck Connors and Jack Elam, all these gray-haired old men trying to rob a train. A low household classic. A couple of more modern ones. A bunch of top 10 lists had Meek's Cutoff
just
on the list.
Torture porn. That's torture porn.
I considered that one because I did watch it recently and I liked it, but I didn't make my list.
Again, well made, but not a fun watch. Kind of the Oregon Trail and the slow. Let's just walk till we're.
It's like
past
we
the
get
point
it.
of no return. We can't. It's all going to go bad. The other Australia Western, The Proposition.
I watched that.
Excellent. With Guy Pearce. Very brutal kind of movie. Those are the last couple of the modern ones I had.
I put down that I like the score, but I didn't love the movie.
Then I had a few that just were on every list I saw: Butch and Sundance, Treasure of the Sierra Madre, The Wild Bunch, Shane, and Once Upon a Time in the West. I know, Jared, I remember you liking
It's
that
too
movie.
spaghetti for me. So
I don't know that I've ever seen that.
I
said I like that.
Henry Fonda.
Okay, maybe I'm getting that confused.
There's no way he liked it if he doesn't like spaghetti westerns, because that's so drawn out. No way.
Maybe I was thinking of something else, but okay. So the other old school ones I made a few notes on. Stagecoach from 1939, John Wayne's first movie, just a classic. For 1939, a real action piece of a stagecoach trying to get from point A to point B. But then The Shootist from 1976 was John Wayne's last movie, who he was dying from cancer as he was filming it, and it's about an aging gunfighter dying of cancer, and he rents a room from a widow played by Lauren Bacall. And he doesn't just want to lay in bed and die. He wants to go out doing something heroic, or make it quick. Have one last thing to live for. It's got also has Jimmy Stewart and little Ron Howard as well, 1976. Right in the Happy Days heyday. Then High Noon is always on the lists. Grace Kelly, Gary Cooper. That's the town marshal. It's shot in real time, basically. This guy is
pretty close.
This gang of killers is going to come at high noon, and he needs to take his young wife and get out of town, but he can't. He has to stay and.
He put that guy in jail. He's got to stand up. I watched this a couple weeks ago again because I was like, I never really loved it, but having just watched these other movies, I thought, what fixes this movie? no Gary Cooper, Jimmy Stewart. You put Jimmy Stewart in that role, and it's so much better. First off, I think he'd have convinced all these people to help.
I need help.
But it would change the whole thing, because it's totally fine. It's fine.
It's in every top 10 you see, but it's not one I love rewatching. No. And the last one I had was The Gunfighter from 1950, Gregory Peck movie. I love the idea of this one more than I like the movie. He's a veteran gunslinger who is the best there ever was, and he just wants to retire, but you can't. Every place he goes, there's some young kid who wants to challenge him and make his name. Well, if I beat you in a duel, I'll be the best in the West. And he just doesn't. He's like, I don't want to kill you, kid. Leave me alone. But it's Gregory Peck as that kind of aging, wise old gunslinger. And the movie's not great, but I love that idea, and I've always wanted to steal it into something I write myself. But one day I'm going to write that story.
That one Sasquatch just wants. I don't know. You take it from there. I watched like a bazillion westerns in the last year. I'm going to go through. So I don't have to talk about Quigley now. We covered it. I just recently watched News of the World, which was pretty decent on Apple with that Tom Hanks, where he's like going around reading people the paper and kind of letting them know they don't have to be under the thumb of the local bad guy type stuff. And it's pretty good. I did my time. I watched the director's cut of Heaven's Gate, which is one of the most famous westerns, and notorious for its overexpensive production and terrible reception. And they say the director's cut is better, and it was probably better, but I didn't love it. It's really long. Well, let's see. Silverado is Lawrence Kasdan. It's got Kevin Kline, Kevin Costner, Scott Glenn. Who else is in it? I don't know, but this one Eric said this is like comfort food Western. This is the type of Western that this does not reflect any time period that existed in reality at all. It's like none of this could ever have happened. And all the guns, like if a gun flies up in the air, it lands in your hand. And it's just like it's just a fun time, silly cowboy.
That to me, most of these Westerns aren't realistic, quote unquote.
Right.
So why not just go crazy?
Yeah,
it
is. I get the comfort food of it. I didn't watch either 3:10 for Yuma. I was so afraid one of you guys were going to tell me it was good, but I've never heard anybody say that either one of them was fantastic.
That one probably should have been on my honorable mention list. I've never seen the original, but I really like the remake. Yeah, it's Christian Bale, Russell Crowe, and Ben Foster, and it's good. Probably on second thought would have been on my honorable mentions. I don't know if it would have made the final list, but yeah, I do like the remake.
What's McCabe and Mrs. Miller, because it was on lists and I didn't care for it. Winchester 73, like I said, I love A Special Gun. That's the one Jimmy Stewart wins a gun or something in a shooting contest, and like every time he shoots, he's like just like whips it into sights and stuff. And you like follow the gun through the story, and that that's kind of neat. But again, just fine. Oxbow Incident, Henry Fonda. It's a pretty short movie, but it's about like they want to hang these guys that supposedly may have killed somebody, and they just like mob mentality. It's a commentary on the mob mentality, and just it's good. It won an Oscar, I think. It might have been Best Picture that year, but it's still not unbelievable or anything. But Henry Fonda's good. He's always good. Let's see. Couple that I don't even know if you've heard of. Johnny Guitar. You heard of that?
Just looking at some lists, I saw it on some best of.
Yeah, I like this. Joan Crawford. I mean, it's called Johnny Guitar. This is like the guy that comes in and he plays guitar and he stays at her place. And she's got Vienna's. It's like this gambling place in whatever town that was settled. And she's the star of the movie. Like it's a good, strong woman, led Western where she's like super tough and like commenting on how, you guys don't have to do anything. And everybody's falling all over you to give you credit. But if I make one misstep because I'm a woman, I pay for it. And it was good. I enjoyed it. Probably one of the best discoveries I made on the list was The Big Country with Gregory Peck.
Big Country.
One thing that's going for it's got Burl Ives won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in this 1958. What was cool, had Charlton Heston and Gregory Peck, and Gregory Peck is like comes to town. He's like the city guy, and Charlton Heston's like, doesn't like him taking the woman, but he like everything, any challenge that comes up, Gregory Peck's character has no interest in getting any credit for anything. There's this tough Bronco. They try to trick him into riding. Here, you take this horse or whatever. And he doesn't, he doesn't fall for it, but he doesn't, he comes back later privately and like breaks the horse. He goes out there and like gets thrown off of it a few times until he breaks it. And then that's it. And he doesn't say anything about it. Anyway, the stable guy knows about it, but just like, he just wants to prove to himself and then move on. At one time, Charlton Heston like challenges him to a fight. Like we're gonna fight. He's like, no, and he totally backs down. And everybody's like, coward, whatever. And then like in the middle of the night, he goes and wakes Charlton Heston up and says, let's go fight. And they go out in the field and just fight, just the two of them. Like that is amazing to me. Like I really dug all of that stuff. Just like it was all like showing like, only thing was important what he thought of himself and proven to the other guy, wait, okay, you didn't get the best of me, but I don't care what anyone else thinks. So I kind of recommend that one. As far it wasn't anywhere near my top 10, but that'd be a good Saturday, eat some peanuts and watch that. That's pretty much it. I had a lot of fun.
I think we pretty much covered it all. The AFI, the Film Institute list I mentioned earlier, I'll get their top 10. 10 was Cat Ballou, the Lee Marvin movie, which I don't know anything about, but except the fake nose that he wears.
Paint Your Wagon, is that another one of his?
Oh, yeah. Musical last week.
Yeah.
9 was Stagecoach. 8, McCabe and Mrs. Miller. 7, Butch and Sundance. 6, The Wild Bunch. 5, Red River. 4, Unforgiven. 3, Shane. 2, High Noon. And 1 was The Searchers. So the experts, out of the experts' top 10, we had 2 of their top 10. So I feel that's about right for Ka-Pow.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And of course, the number one that should always be mentioned is Lonesome Dove. You should watch Lonesome Dove. It is the best of all time. Bar none. It's so good. So good. A special rule had to be made to exclude it.
Ban it from the list. It's the Lonesome Dove Memorial list.
We all know it's the real number one.
Okay. Should I reveal what the next one for this trio is going to be? So you can start preparing.
Reveal to us or to the listeners?
That's what I'm asking. Should I reveal to anyone that stayed this long?
Okay.
I feel like they did their time.
I don't know what it is. So I'm
let us all have it.
Okay, I felt like this is a good one for this trio. We've got other ones for other combinations, and they'll be coming out at some point. But for this trio, we're gonna do baseball movies.
Oh.
I think there's enough out there. We might not do 17. We might just do 11, but we'll see. But there's a lot out there. There's several I wouldn't mind rewatching, catching up on ones I missed.
before opening day next year, we can squeeze that.
I think that's good timing there. That's it. That's all she wrote.
Hey, that was fun. Thank you, Jared, we mentioned this to you a long time ago, so we thank you for keeping it in the back of your head for this long.
Happy to do it, and thanks for having me. I'm happy with the list that we came out with. So,
and thanks, Cliff, for recording this after the fact. We hope
putting in all the clips, putting in all the quotes,
all that work he did,
the gunshots.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this is the first time we've ever recorded anything without Cliff behind the scenes pushing the button.
It's gonna break my heart if it did not.
Yeah,
I probably did not record. Yeah.
There's a non-zero chance none of this is recorded.
Mine says recording over here, but
so it recorded somewhere. So let's see what happens. So we'll trust Cliff to fix it and come back from Disney safe and sound to a whole lot of work. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope you enjoyed all of that. Thanks, Jared. We'll see you next time.
Trails.
My name is Jordan. I biffed the accent there again. I was going to go back in. Old prospector. My name's Jordan Lowe. Go!
I'm Seth. Down under. Bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, join our Patreon at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and access to Patreon-only benefits. We are grateful for anyone who chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.